This video is brought to you by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors,
including real hunting and fishing situations involving wildlife.
and we do our best each and every week to keep it tasteful, but discretion is advised.
Now, enjoy the show.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
This week on the show,
Delmarva's duck population is a hot subject for researchers this time of year, and we're there to follow the fascinating process, from capture to banding, and finally the release.
Number 17 is a second-year male.
Plus, with winter upon us, cabin fever could be setting in. Local ponds have always helped tide us over until fishing seasons begin, but there's been a delay. We find out why it's just too cold for trout. And we visit with our friends at Denrac to see how the harvest was for this recent deer season in Delaware.
right now on Outdoors Delmarva.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. And now, here's Captain Willie Dykes.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Captain Willie Dykes. We'll be checking in with my partner Andrew Taws in just a few minutes. Well, we had one heck of a waterfowling season on Delmarva this year, and now that it's about over, attention turns from hunting to research. The Maryland Department of Natural Resources has been asked to help the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service conduct a unique study of one of the area's duck species. And we got a look behind the scenes and found the process fascinating.
We got a few ducks down there, probably a good 10 to a dozen there.
That's a little slick, isn't it?
We've been invited to go along on a different type of duck hunt this morning at an undisclosed location in Worcester County. The target, the American black duck.
First we put the corn out and get them using here, and then once they get used to it, we'll bring the trap in, and then we feed outside the trap, and then we gradually feed it to where we have all the corn inside the trap, and then once they get used to it, we go ahead and set it.
With the test subjects carefully collected, the field officers rebait the trap for the next round, and from there it's off to transport the ducks to this busy Maryland DNR station.
2 times a year we do the banding. It's pre-season and post-season. Pre-season is in the fall of the year, August, September, October, and then we do the post-season in February, March.
There'll be some important environmental data collected this morning. Foremost on the agenda is to gain information about how the black ducks are interbreeding with mallard ducks.
We're doing a black duck mallard hybridization study. We're checking the numbers or percentages of black ducks that have mallard in them or crosses or vice versa. The data we're hoping to collect today is where these birds came from, where they may end up going later, their ages, their survivability, males versus females, and what percentage of these black ducks are crossed with mallards. 26 after second year male.
Maryland DNR officer Denny Price noticed a change some years ago.
The first bird I saw that was definitely crossed black mallard was back in the late 70s. It's the first one I'd ever seen. I took a picture of it. It was so odd looking. But until the last really 20 years, we had not been doing a lot of studying.
And while some people believe that black ducks are a subspecies of mallard, there are some important differences, and not just in appearance.
Even though mallards and blacks are the same body characteristics, the black duck is a saltwater bird. He will eat crustaceans, invertebrate, minnows, where the mallard lives inland, fresher water. He's a vegetable eater. He's going to eat corn and seeds and grasses and things like that. So their habitats, they meet, but they don't overlap normally.
You put your hand in the trap, get him behind the wings, and just give him a little bit of firm pressure.
Handling ducks requires a firm hand and a confident manner, and that's enough to put these birds somewhat at ease.
You always put the band on first. That way, if the duck does get loose, you still got a banded bird.
In addition to banding the birds, other data will be collected this morning.
Well, what we're going to be doing today is taking some swabs, some cloacal swabs and oral swabs for avian influenza and blood swabs for West Nile virus and avian influenza. So kind of I guess an all-around look-see at the birds.
Number 40 is a second-year male, mallard.
So far, we've seen pure black ducks and an occasional pure mallard, but we're still hoping to find evidence of a hybrid. And then,
here we go.
Bingo, we have our hybrid.
Got a hybrid. So he's got one too many bars. You should not have this bar up here. The color, see the color, the white? You should not have that white across there to be pure black duck. That's what this study is all about. Number 44 is an after second year male hybrid.
This is part of a 3-year study from the Department of U.S. Fish and Wildlife to determine the extent of black duck and mallard hybridization, and the results won't be known for a few more years. As far as the blood samples to determine avian influenza and other diseases, we're happy to report that these birds found on Delmarva get a clean bill of health.
When we finish banding these birds and taking all the information we need, we'll take these birds back where we caught them last night and release them, and then check the traps that were set last night.
With this morning's work complete, it's time now for the researchers and the researchees to go their separate ways. And we're sure that the ducks will have some wild stories to tell to all of their friends.
Coming up next, find out why in Maryland it's going to be a little longer before you can start reeling in some rainbow trout.
But first, did you know? Unlike other species of ducks, both male and female black ducks appear largely similar in appearance. What other characteristics set black ducks apart from the others? The answer when we come back.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Shooter's Choice, Shorts Marine, and Wink Sporting Goods. Outdoors Delmarva will be right back.
Did you know? Black ducks are among the earliest pairing puddle ducks. Courtship can begin as early as September, and nesting runs from around mid-March through August. After egg laying, males will remain with the females for about 2 weeks, then take off on their own.
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina.
With most hunting seasons winding down, freshwater trout fishing is a nice way to get out there and break up any cabin fever that you might have. You just head out to a lake or a stream, reel in a few of those rainbow trout. It's a good way to cure those wintertime blues. But because it has been so cold out here, you're not going to be able to do that just yet. It's always something to look forward to. Fishing at the tail end of winter makes it seem like spring is just around the corner. Peaceful fishing on a serene stream or pond, a great way to tide us over until the warmer days of fishing on the bay for the big fish finally arrive.
Big rainbow trout.
Scenes like this can warm up any angler's day. Hundreds of rainbow trout being deposited in the Beaver Dam branch in Salisbury. One challenge of fishing is finding where the fish are, and seeing them go into the water lets you believe that you're going to catch a fish or two, or maybe 10.
Usually we can hold anywhere between 700 and 500 fish.
But this truck, normally out on fish delivery runs, is on standby. Here at Unicorn Lake Fish Hatchery near Millington, Maryland, the process is being held up.
As you can see, our hatchery ponds are fairly covered in ice, so we can't really harvest the fish out.
This is what would normally be happening right now. big net stretching across to gather up the trout, all to be netted at this end of the pond.
We're dragging the net. It's a very large, it's a long net actually, and it will drag it down, and then the person will walk along the bank here and we'll cinch it up little by little here into this corner. And as you can see, it's pretty much impossible with 1 inch, 2 inches ice here.
You can see now why they are unable to get these fish out. It's been too cold. Another side effect of winter, the trout are not as hungry as they normally would be.
When it gets cold, they slow down. That means they don't eat as much, they don't grow as much, they don't move around as much, they're just not as active. On warmer days, even when it's been pretty cold, even when there's ice in the water, if the sun's beating on it later in the afternoon, sometimes we can get them to feed a little bit better.
But even if there wasn't any ice here,
some of the waters that we're looking to stock still have ice cover, in fact, so it's making it quite a challenge for us.
patience is going to be required before any fish can be delivered to the Beaver Dam Branch and Shad Landing, or any location in Maryland that is stocked with trout.
Like everybody else, it's cold. It's been very, very cold. So unfortunately, we're like I said, we're having a hard time getting the fish out of the ponds. They've also, because the water's been so cold, they haven't been eating quite as well. So they're not going to grow quite as much as we would like. We get quite a number of fishermen that are interested in getting out and doing a little bit of fishing, but we can only do what Mother Nature will let us do.
So let's hope that Mother Nature will turn the temperature up a little bit, at least enough to get these trout out of the hatchery and into a fishing hole near you. Before you know it, you'll be able to get outdoors Delmarva. Coming up next, deer season is in the books, so we check in with our friends at DenRec to find out the numbers of Delaware's deer harvest.
Outdoors Delmarva will be right back. You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Well, the 2013-2014 deer season is in the books, and we've had some good days, we had some bad days out there hunting. And here joining me now is Joe Rogerson with DenRec. Hey, Joe.
Andrew, nice to see you.
All right, same here. And Joe, what can you tell us about this year's harvest?
Sure. Actually, most hunters seem to have more good days than bad days this year. The 2013-2014 deer season was our third highest harvest we've ever experienced in Delaware. 14,263 deer were taken. Just about 400 deer less than our all-time record set back in 2004, so a really good year for us.
Well, it certainly sounds like it.
Yes, we set a lot of records in terms of not just overall harvest being really good, but Newcastle County and Kent counties, we've never harvested more deer in those two counties before. We set records there this year. And Sussex County, folks may remember, last year, so the 2012 season, we had some impacts with epizootic hemorrhagic disease and our harvest was down there. This year, harvest numbers bounced back and were prior to what we've seen prior to the EHD outbreak. So while it didn't set a record in Sussex, we did see increased harvest in that area.
That sounds great, Joe. What can you say has kind of led to this increase in the harvest this year? Anything in particular?
One thing that certainly helped was throughout most of the season we had really good weather. We didn't have impacts of nor'easters and stuff like we've had in past years during our major firearm seasons, muzzleloader and shotgun seasons that really prevent hunters from getting out there and being successful. We had good weather, we had snowfall in January, so that gets a lot of guys wanting to go outside and hunt in the snow, so our January harvest was up a little bit more than what it was. And just, I think, a healthy deer herd, the fact that numbers rebounded, we didn't have any impacts from EHD again this year or anything like that, so we just had a healthy, resilient population going into this past fall.
Well, how did the numbers for each individual season, bow season, shotgun, how did that break down this year?
Sure. Actually, for archery season, compound bows, crossbows, all archery equipment combined, we set another record in terms of that. Around 2,400 deer were taken, with all archery equipment combined. Wow. Our previous record was set last year, and we broke it by over 500 deer this year. So archery hunters were definitely successful. November shotgun season this year was virtually identical in terms of harvest to last season. Most of the seasons were pretty similar. January muzzleloader season was up this year. I think maybe the snow on the ground helped guys be a little more successful in the field. What
are you guys taking out of this season, the third highest on record? How are things looking for the future?
I mean, the future looks bright. You know, one thing can't be understated is how productive our deer herd is in terms of number of fawns produced per doe, high quality forage that we have. We think that the demographics of our deer population, you know, can sustain some, you know, extra pressure from another source out there.
All right, Joe, thanks for talking with us.
Yes.
And we hope everybody out there had a good season, and we'll be seeing you out there in the fall. Coming up next, we follow a pair of young rabbit hunters on their journey into adulthood on this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
And now Roscoe and Flash are busy doing their thing.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru, higher standards. And now it's time to check in with an old friend. Here's this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
Get her down there. Yeah, Roscoe. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Over this corner. Over here, Flash. Flash, over here.
Roscoe and Flash have grown up.
They're doing pretty good. They're 25 months old. And if they had an old dog, they'd be perfect now, but they're just doing what I've taught them.
It's hard to believe Roscoe and Flash, Delmarva's most celebrated beagles, are 25 months old and doing what comes naturally, hunting rabbits. It seems like only yesterday they were babes in hands, having been orphaned at birth and bottle raised by James and Pat Hemman of Chrisfield. We were there then and later visited with them as teenagers, an age when visions of bouncing bunnies hadn't entered their minds. But days do pass swiftly by, and now Roscoe and Flash are busy doing their thing.
See, now right now they're in their cold trailing. That's where the rabbit probably traveled last night.
James and his son Mike are the beagles' teachers.
Hey, ain't nothing up that tree, boy. Get out. Rabbits don't go up trees.
This day the bunnies were giving Roscoe and Flash the business.
Yeah, he's squatted in there. He's doubled on him. He's a pretty smart rabbit. Attaboy, get him! They've been doing pretty good. I killed a few rabbits with them this year. Come on, he's not in there. I'm satisfied with them for this second year.
James and Pat Hinman would be satisfied with them if they couldn't even recognize a rabbit.
She hates him to go out for they won't lose him. Won't bring him back. Hit him! That's how much she thinks. Oh, get him, boy!
This day, Roscoe and Flash didn't get him, but that didn't really matter at all.
I just get a kick of stomping through them bushes.
With Roscoe and Flash, of course, and we feel sure they feel the same way.
Coming up next, your latest viewer videos and pictures.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by North Bay Marina. You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru, higher standards. Sponsored by Shooter's Choice, Shorts Marine, and Wink Sporting Goods. Do you have a video you'd like to share with the Outdoors Delmarva team?
Get outdoors, Delmarva!
We'd love to see it. Maybe it's a hunting or fishing trip, or just going camping or hiking with friends.
Me and my friend are lobster.
Let us know, and we can put the Viewer Venture Cam in your hands. Have an idea? Email us at outdoors@wboc.com. It's the Outdoors Delmarva Viewer Venture Cam. You shoot it, we'll show it.
Get outdoors, Delmarva.
It's time now to take a look at some of the pictures and videos sent in by our own Outdoors Delmarva viewers. Remember our snow goose hunt last week with Del Bay Guide Service? Here is the entire group out near Milford, Delaware that morning with all their snow geese. It was a cold one, but the action was red hot. Check out Cody Holland of Salisbury, Maryland here with a pair of Drake mallards and a couple of buffleheads. The yellow lab, appropriately named Duckin', teamed up with Cody in Somerset County for Maryland's youth waterfowl hunt. Looks like they had a great day. Well, that's going to wrap up another week of adventures for us. And Willie, it was a pretty informative show this week. Learned a lot.
Yeah, the researchers are really going deep to find out about that new type of duck we're getting here on Delmarva.
And hopefully soon it'll warm up just enough to get those trout out into some of those lakes and streams. So for my partner, Captain Willie Dykes, I'm Andrew Taws reminding you to get outdoors, Delmarva. Doesn't feel like it's warming up anytime soon.
No, wait.